Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
वॉचो ऐप पे देखो एक ओटीटी के दाम पे सारे ओटीटी शान से।
Watch
113 for 6 is where South Africa finished against Bangladesh in an innings which had all the oscillations we've come to be so used to here in New York. 23 for 4. They looked in real trouble. Then recovery through Miller and Klaassen. They added nearly 80, the highest stand we've seen so far at the Nassau County Stadium. But then Bangladesh would believe they've crawled back, conceding only 13 in the last 3 overs to leave themselves needing 114 if they are to taste a first ever victory in men's T20Is against South Africa. We look back on that first innings on Maruti Suzuki Arena, presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Dish TV Watcho, in the continued company of Sanjay Manjrekar here in our studios, and Tamim, Iqbal and Morne Morkel. Let's get the neutral voice in first. So Sanjay, you take first strike and tell us what you think of that score.
Well, South Africa have some batting issues, isn't it? In that last game, they recovered from 12 for 4. Today as well, what was it, 30
23
for 4?
for 4.
23 for 4. So that is something they need to work out. But I think they've got enough bowling to make this a very exciting game. I think slowly and steadily, a few batters are getting used to the subtle skill that we've been talking about. Klaassen again, David Miller again. But Markram has been disappointing. And one thing I'm starting to also gauge from how Quinton de Kock got out, Klaassen as well trying to play across the line. I think somewhere, while this pitch remains like this, if you want to get a decent score on the board, interestingly enough, maybe if batters stop looking for boundaries, they might actually end up getting more. Because every time they've looked to play the aggressive shot, they've faltered.
Yeah, Morne, why don't you shed your light on how the South African innings has gone? Klaassen and Miller's partnership has rescued them here, but your thoughts first on how that top order collapsed in a heap yet again in the first 5 overs.
Well, it was a brave call by Aiden, at the start to bat first. But yeah, I think we all were hoping for a decent total on a scoreboard here tonight, and exciting game. It's still going to be a great chase, but the red flag for South Africa is always going to be that new ball, and how Bangladesh can hit their straps with that new ball. After a great start by Quinny, getting a few boundaries away in that first sort of initial 4 or 5 balls, you thought, okay, today is the day for him. But they stuck to a simple game plan by bringing the stumps in play. There's inconsistent bounce in the surface, and like you guys also just mentioned now there, that it's almost like when you look to play the cross-bat shot, the ball's just keeping low and you get yourself into trouble. So the key is to maybe look to play to score straight, get the ball, hit the ball down the ground, and I thought Miller and Klaassen did that really well. But yeah, worries for them at the top of the order. Reza Hendricks also not scoring runs again today. Markram, he got a beauty of a ball up front. But yeah, they've got the score on the board. There is going to be, pressure, I think, from that bowling attack now with the new ball. So hopefully, let's see how Bangladesh can react.
All right, so that's the setup. Let's tuck into the standout performers from this first innings then, and let's start with the ball, because Bangladesh, whatever you may think about the totals we're getting in New York, it takes a commendable effort to keep South Africa down to less than a run a ball. And it began, Tamim, through Tanzim Hassan Saqib. Must have been a bit rattled with the way de Kock launched into him in the first few balls of this game. But then some stunning deliveries there to rattle the South African top order.
Yeah, definitely. What was good to see was even in the first over, he was changing the pace. So, yes, he got hit for a 6 and a 4, but he is normally a very confident guy. So this kind of bowlers, either they will go for plenty of runs or they'll pick up wickets. So I think he bowled beautifully today. He knew what the wicket is demanding. He was changing the pace. Batsman was not sure what's coming up. I think he bowled extremely well. I have to be a little honest as well. I think the wicket helped him a lot, especially Quinton's wicket. I think it kept a little low, but overall, he bowled fantastic 4 overs. Same goes for Thaksin, as I said, with Markram. If I still remember the last T20 World Cup, he troubled Markram there as well. He's a great matchup with Markram, and I think he got Markram's wicket with a beautiful delivery. I think everybody chipped in. All the fast bowlers did their job. Very surprised to see Mahmudullah bowling those couple of overs, bowled extremely well. Bit of surprising why Shakib didn't bowl more. If he was thinking about Miller, but there was a time when they were 30 for 3, 30 for 4. I think there was a great opportunity to bring on Shakib and challenge Klassen.
Morne, your thoughts on the Bangladesh Pacers, especially 21-year-old Tanzim, whatever the conditions, takes something to bowl that well after being hit early on in your spell?
Yeah, I was very impressed by him. The thing that no matter, he sort of brought the wicket into play. He was very accurate. And I think that's the thing. You want to limit or take away that soft boundary, on a hard scoring ground. And, I thought as a partnership, they bowled really well. That's one of the key things always when you look for your bowling unit is for guys to create that pressure and bowl well in a partnership. I thought from a South African, point of view, they would have sort of sighed a bit of relief when the paces went off and they brought on spin. It just gave Miller and Klassen that opportunity, to form a partnership and maybe just knock the ball around. There was a couple of 8-9 run overs sort of for them that just gave him a little bit of momentum. I think, they didn't really have any options of another seamer in the attack, but I think that's one advantage that Africa's got today. They'll have that extra bit of pace on the ball. So once you get a team 3-4 down, and to have that luxury of an extra, express seamer, that will come in handy today.
Yeah, that passage of spin that Morne points to is the most productive passage of this innings. 25 for 4 at the end of the power play, but the next 4 overs, all by spin, go for 32, and you could clearly see Klassen was trying to go after the young leg spinner.
Yes, and he's a good player of spin. Secret being that he looks to play everything off the back foot, and that's why he was able to, survive and play spin so well. Tamim is right. I think there's sometimes too much wariness for a left-arm spinner to bowl while a left-hander is out there. Shakib on this kind of a pitch would have been a lot more economical. They bowled Mahmudullah, even in the last game they bowled him. So they're starting to use him a lot, but that is more a matchup thing. The moment you have a left-hander, you bowl an off-spinner, but Shakib is good enough to bowl to left-handers as well. So maybe Mr. Trick Shariful Islam is somebody they miss terribly because of that injury, because he is the right bowler to exploit these conditions. I'm just happy that the ball is keeping low, because that means the pitch is improving. We are not seeing that dangerous. Andy Flower, mentioned that it's bordering on dangerous. So the dangerous deliveries aren't being seen anymore that are hitting the batters on the body. The ball is starting to keep low, which means that's a good sign,
You can see Morne is damn pleased with that. Morne, continue with your thoughts through Miller and Klassen and how they negated that middle overs period, choosing their moments, which also becomes so important when you're playing T20s of this sort with lower targets to aim at.
Yeah, they showed a bit of maturity there. They showed experience, especially from Miller again. After doing that against the Dutch, to come back and do sort of back-to-back innings is what you expect from your senior players in big games. And I thought, also at times they looked to hit the ball, knock the ball into space, and they ran a couple of twos. And from a Bangladesh sort of point of view, they gave away one or two soft little runs in the field. Is that going to be a sort of factor coming to the end of the game? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, well done to those guys up front. Just after the team is 23 for 4, to build a partnership like that, that's nicely played.
And the big moment also, yes, for me was that Klassen got out in the 19th, and David Miller, as well, after being set, got out before the expiry of the 20 overs. Now, because they were just perfectly set up to go into that final flourish, and had Klassen stayed in till the end, and David Miller as well, then you're talking about a difference of maybe 10-15 runs, which in this case would have been a score that is almost a winning score on this board. So Bangladesh were extremely fortunate. They deserved those wickets to get Klassen out after being set at the time that he did. It might seem a little too late, but in this tournament, getting Klassen out with almost, 10 overs left in the innings, I would think 4 of the 19th, and, are big factors.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the third straight day that we're seeing a game being played at this very surface. And what Sanjay points out has been a trend. Netherlands had recovered a bit against South Africa, but then lost wickets in the last couple of overs, finished on 103, and that didn't prove enough. India too collapsed, having been 89 for 3, then 119. That proved enough for them. Let's see if it works out for Bangladesh or South Africa with the runs that have been lost or won. I don't even know which perspective to look at it with the kind of scores we're getting. But Tamim, set us up for this chase. What are the boxes Bangladesh must tick to have a chance to gun down this 114?
I think before Bangladesh, it will be interesting to see what South Africa does. Because if South Africa goes all out and attacks, you never know. If Bangladesh gets few boundaries early, it's a different ball game. And if South Africa goes what India did yesterday, just follow the basic, hit the length, and see what the wicket is offering, then it will be an interesting chase. I think Tanzit Tamim will be very important in this chase. If he normally bats quite quickly. If he gets a couple of early boundaries and Shanto is on the other side, he can anchor the innings, then Bangladesh should be fine for today.
Morne, this is the first time South Africa bowled second, the first time they have to defend a total. Bowling first on this kind of a surface might have allowed the luxury of attacking more. How do you see them bowl this time around?
Yeah, I think they're gonna keep it simple. They know now the blueprint to bowl on this surface, and yeah, it's gonna test this bowling attack. We always speak about the quality of the South African bowling attack. We know that bowling attacks and bowlers win you tournaments. So I'm quite excited to see this run chase. I think it can go any way. Both teams are still under pressure going into the second innings, so a lot to look forward to.
Don that neutral hat once again and predict which way you see this going.
South African bowling in the last game was impressive. Even despite Rabada not being at his best, it was still very impressive. Their fielding, their catching. I dare say that they'll be able to defend this total. But Tamim makes an important point that if somebody just has one great over, like Tawhid Ridhoy in the last game went after it. So if that happens, then maybe yes. But it's not in South Africa's nature to get too aggressive and look for wicket. They'll do the South African thing. And I think that might just be enough. It's amazing when you think this kind of a score might be good. But you're talking about a very formidable bowling attack.
Bangladesh's bidding begins with a left-handed opener who has the nickname Tamim. That is a name that has worked well for them in low chases against favourites. Let's see what this one has in store. We'll pick up the conversation at the end of the contest with Sanjay Manjrekar, Morne Morkel and Tamim Iqbal. So be sure to join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout, powered by Dish TV. Watcho, download the ESPN Cricket Info mobile app. It'll have you covered through this chase, the ebbs and flows. Our forecasters also getting used to New York and all the newness it brings as far as T20 scores go. So follow the game on the ESPN Cricket Info mobile app and join us as soon as things are over in New York. See you then.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
वॉचो ऐप पे देखो एक ओटीटी के दाम पे सारे ओटीटी शान से